All right, hello. Thank you for clicking on my little video here. I'm Juli.a.strology. This is me astrologizing my diaries. I'm going to start by reading a quote from Saturn. What's the full title? Saturn, A New Look at an Old Devil by Liz Green. This is it's page 29 for me. It's the section of Saturn in Pisces because I'm currently going through my Saturn return, which is kind of what inspired all of this anyway. And a lot of people are going through their Saturn return right now, so I just want to read a little bit about it. This is kind of a long quote, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And then I'm gonna read like a couple entries and then we're gonna talk about it. So it's gonna be a long video, but let's get into it. Saturn in Pisces in the 12th house. The 12th house, as the last in the circle and lying hidden behind the ascendant or outward behavior, symbolizes both endings and beginnings. It is the end because it represents the sacrifice which must ultimately be made of the conscious personality as a separation unit. From a more abstruse, I googled that. From a more abstruse point of view, it represents the beginning because it refers to those causes from the past which, operating from birth and below the level of consciousness, draw us to those situations which require that we lose ourselves and die to be reborn into group consciousness. From water all life comes, says the Quran. In this house, reflecting Pisces and Neptune, the ancient god of waters, suggests that a plane where life, undifferentiated and without individuality, first sprang, and where, wise with the lessons of individual consciousness, it must eventually return. Even shorn of its more esoteric associations, the 12th house refers to isolation and submission, and to the dissolution of the personality. This is often called the house of karma, based on the idea that planets found here are in some way denied normal expression and are often operating as unconscious rather than conscious drives. It is also called the house of self-undoing because isolation, incarceration, helplessness, and bondage are often the lot of a person with a heavily active 12th house, literal or symbolic, and it is his own actions which draw these conditions to him. Whether a long past is considered or not, the interference is certainly present that the ego built through the efforts of the previous 11 houses and signs must eventually be laid on the altar of sacrifice so that the man may become a functioning part of a larger whole. Wow, this is a long sentence. And give of his wisdom and energy for the good of the group. For the man who refuses to comprehend this, it is the house of hospitals and prisons, for only through the loss of individual power can a man realize that he himself is nothing without a link to the rest of life. This is always a difficult house, unless the path of service is pursued. Somehow the release of energy in this way alleviates much of the frustration and loneliness which accompanies 12th house planets and makes the required sacrifices bearable. It's fine. Where was I? This is always a difficult house, unless the path of service is pursued. Somehow the release of energy in this way alleviates much of the frustration and loneliness which accompanies 12th house planets and makes the required sacrifices bearable. Great pain often occurs through the 12th house, for the loss of the will after so much careful bidding is a great blow to the man who has come to identify himself with his personal desires. Yet loss of will is the price which all planets pay when found in this house, although the finding of real inner serenity is often gained in exchange. As the last sign of the watery trigon, Pisces symbolizes the completion. As the last sign of the watery trigon, Pisces symbolizes the completion and fulfillment of all emotional strivings, unity, not with another person, but with life itself. This is the mystical marriage, and it is most difficult for the average man, centered in his personality, to deal with. There is no battle required, only acquiescence and devotion. It is almost impossible to make any sense of the 12th house from a purely mundane point of view. For even more than the 8th, this is a non-material house and pertains to matters which bring a man into closer touch with subjective reality. Any planet in the 12th is subject to the dissolving and transmuting influence which blocks the ordinary personal expression of the planet and forces its energies inward upon you. That which occurs here in secret like the gestation of a child. That which occurs here occurs in secret like the gestation of a child. Only when the term is complete can this facet of the individual unfold like a newborn baby into external expression, and by then it is changed. Saturn in the 12th house, and to a lesser extent in Pisces, is difficult from the point of view of the personality because the Saturnian energies, geared initially towards self-protection and defense against the environment, are rendered ineffectual. This may, in extreme situations, be through hospitalization or imprisonment for a period of time, and the man may learn through his own helplessness how ultimately impotent the personal will is against the forces of his own past, which he himself has set in motion. The feeling that one is helpless and must submit to something larger and greater is frequent with the placement. The feeling that one is helpless and must submit to something larger and greater is frequent with this placement of Saturn, although it may occur on a very subjective level. This is a cadent house and refers to states of mind, and Saturn here often generates a vague fear that someone or something, a misty or generalized fate or destiny, is going to destroy or control him. He may isolate himself and attempt to shield himself from contact with others at the same time that he is weighed down by an oppressive loneliness and sense of powerlessness. The sacrifice of one's material ambitions is often concurrent with the 12th house Saturn, and this is also one of the commonest significators. This is also one of the commonest significators of the child who dedicates his life to the care of an ailing or helpless parent at the cost of his own development. This is done not because it must be. There are always alternatives, but because there is an intense feeling of guilt, obligation, and instinctual understanding that he must make some sacrifice or pay some debt. It is also often the reflection of a fear of confronting external life and a sense of impotence in being able to handle practical affairs. Guilt looms large with this placement of Saturn, although it is generalized rather than specific guilt. It may cause a man to seek penance through solitude, or there may be religious penance in the literal sense, resulting in the monk or nut. It may be apparently involuntary penance, as is the case with incarceration, but the man himself chooses this course, although he may not consciously believe he will have to pay. It may result in sickness or withdrawal from conscious awareness through drugs, alcohol, or insanity. Or it may be much more subtle and less drastic, as in the case of the man who is always alone and always feels separation from the rest of humanity and the rest of life, no matter how many people he surrounds himself with. Typical Saturnian ambivalence occurs with the 12th house Saturn too, and there is both compulsive fascination with and a great fear of losing one's identity and individuality. But whatever the specific mundane situation which is reflected, the individual is generally called upon at some point in his life to endure helplessness and aloneness and the sacrifice of his control. When this occurs on an inner level, the individual is frequently unable to communicate his feelings to others, which only increases his sense of isolation. He does not understand what it is that he is trying to protect himself against, any more than he understands the abyss which draws him with such fascination. He only knows that he feels powerless and may overcompensate for this feeling by attempting to prove that he is totally master of his life. This may land him in hospital or in jail without his understanding the inner motives. This may land him in hospital or in jail without his understanding the inner motives which have brought him there. Saturn is representative in his disguised and baser. Saturn is representative in his disguised and baser forms as the most personal kind of power, that which a person seizes for self-protection through manipulation of his environment. It is man's defense mechanism which is necessary for a long time, while the unfolding consciousness needs defending. However, when Saturn is found in Pisces or in the 12th house, the time has come for the scaffolding to be taken down, for the inner structure is nearly complete, and stripping this away is initially like stripping off one's outer skin and exposing the raw and tender area beneath. As opposite the 6th house, the 12th disorganizes that which the 6th has put in order and offers chaos instead. This is not the chaos of sickness and madness, however. It only seems so to those who have built their conception of reality on a mundane base. Understanding the meaning of this position takes us beyond the field of orthodox psychology, which has certainly mastered the 4th house and some of the 8th, but is lost when confronting the mysteries of the 12th. Recognition of the urge for evolution, for meaning, for the spiritual side of life, as a valid psychological drive in man is now becoming widespread, however, and when it is understood that this is perhaps the most basic and most important instinct in man, although an instinct of the psyche rather than of the body, then it will not be such a painful experience for a man to sacrifice his personality, to permit his total self-expression. The real potential of Saturn in the 12th house is unfortunately only available now to those of a mystical bent who are inclined toward the path of inner contemplation. To them it is the final sacrifice of the sense of separateness and is willingly undergone because it is the last door between man and his freedom. It depends in the end on one's perspective. Trying to hunt Saturn down through the mazes of the unconscious is difficult enough in the 8th house, where there are still some personality links, but the 12th is wholly of the soul, and analysis does not help understanding unless it is backed by a knowledge of man's innately spiritual nature. The gold available from a 12th house Saturn is the power to serve. The gold available from a 12th house Saturn is the power to serve, not to do good, which is not service at all, but to experience the sense of unity which the mystic is forever seeking, and the sense of responsibility and detached love which accompanies this unity. This will, of course, make no sense to the earthly man and may offend more pragmatic astrologers, but the fact remains that the 12th house has not yet been satisfactorily explained any more than has the nature of man. It may be that as scientific evidence piles up, slowly but surely, in demonstration of the occult teachings of the past, the interrelationships of all living things and their essential underlying oneness will be a fact on the objective plane as well as a subjective experience on the part of the mystic. Saturn in the watery signs and houses is worthy of first place because it is in this area that he displays his greatest ambiguity and also his greatest emotional suffering. As man is only now beginning to learn how to think objectively as a group, and as the majority of people are still polarized in their feeling natures, Saturn in water is responsible for a great deal of the loneliness and isolation so apparent at the present time. It is of some help for the individual who has Saturn in a watery house or sign to recognize that his potential in terms of inner peace, understanding, and wisdom is as great as potential for despair if he will only and wisdom is as great as his potential for despair. One more time. It is of some help for the individual who has Saturn in a watery house or sign to recognize that his potential in terms of inner peace, understanding, and wisdom is as great as his potential for despair, if he will only turn inward to the realm of the feelings and of the unconscious. Okay, so hopefully someone got something out of that. And now on to the journals. So we're starting, I wanted to start with when I discovered astrology, and I did one entry before and one after, so I think it'd be interesting to go like one before that and then one after. The one that I have here is kind of like the one previous to the one I started with. It's kind of a continuation of the one before, so we're going to do 2 ahead and then probably just one after. But here we go. So this was Tuesday, February 9th, 2021. I'm so annoyed. Blue was supposed to come over today when he finished work. But Purple asked me to switch shifts with her. So I would work today and she'll work tomorrow. I should have taken these off already. And I didn't want to, but Purple only asks if she really needs it, so I agreed to help. So I agreed hoping maybe Orange would take it for me. Especially since I took Orange number 1's shift yesterday, so she could hang out with Green, but she didn't text me back until after the shift started. And Orange number 2 told me right as I was getting ready, saying he was at another job and I couldn't be on his phone. So I had to do it, and I just it just sucks because I feel like I do nice things for other people all the time, even if I don't really want to, and it sometimes feels like no one ever returns the favor, which obviously isn't the point of doing nice things, but it would be nice once in a while. I'm just sad because I have abandonment issues and I don't know when I'll see him next, and maybe because when I covered a shift with Pink, my ex-boyfriend, he got mad at me and asked why I'm such a pushover all the time, and Blue is nice to me and even told me to take it. So yeah, I told him, it's like, oh my gosh, I know we're supposed to hang out, but Purple just asked me to cover her shift. He's like, it's okay, do it, I understand. I was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, so that's the first entry, and then the next entry, Wednesday, the 10th of February. These aren't time-stamped, but that's okay. As I was walking out, that's interesting. As I was walking out, I noticed I didn't grab my tips, so I went in, and Green was asking me why I was so sad, and I just told her I had plans, and she kept asking questions, and I wanted to go home and not think about it, and I ended up texting her one small reason why I was upset, and she was like, girl, that was one text, girl, then the next text, he works here. He gets it. Showing up to work and acting like that was not cool. So those are her texts. And I'm just so tired of trying to explain myself to people who don't get it. I didn't even do anything. Like, she asked me a few questions and I tried to answer, and I just didn't have any energy because I was trying so hard to combat my thoughts, going down a negative spiral about how no one likes me and I can't trust anyone or count on anyone to be there for me. Not to mention, I was doing like all the work for her because she was talking to Violet the whole time, and then Violet too came over to help, and I just ended up talking to them the whole time. Oh, and then Violet number 2 came to help and just ended up talking to Violet number 1 the whole time. And I had to give up my one night with Blue, and I could actually, Blue and I had to give up the one night Blue and I could actually spend time together in a while, like probably 2 weeks, and the next time we both have a night off might be weeks away, it might be next week, but he started a new job, and I don't know if his schedule is going to stay like this or even if mine will, so instead of spending one day with the only person who doesn't make me feel self-conscious about everything I do, I got to do all the work for people who don't fucking do their job. I don't know, I'm like worried about getting demonetized. I'm not even monetized yet. Who don't fucking do their job. Like, at one point there were only 2 orders that were waiting on, or 2 orders that were waiting on one side each. So I asked for them and then decided to get, like, so yeah, it's like the line, there's food runners and to-go people on this side and the servers and stuff and the cooks, and I was like, hey, I need these sides because they don't show up on their screen, and then they like take a minute, so I was like, okay. Continuing on. So I asked for the sides and decided to go to the bathroom, and I came back and the food was where I left it and both sides were up, and all 3 of them, so I think it's Green and Indigo, what did I say, Violet 1 and 2, where's this name, that's okay. Yeah, all 3 of them were standing in front of the shelf where assembly happens now, talking, and earlier when I was trying to put together orders, Green was standing right there on her phone, so when she texted me that, it really pissed me off. I didn't reply, and I just deleted her text thread so I don't have to see that text every time. So that was the preference for me trying to stay positive, and it's getting so hard and things are getting so bad and everything sucks, and I'm spiraling out of control. And then I found astrology. Oops, I got tarot. I'm gonna pull a tarot card later, but I wanted the deck to be there. Here we go. This is the first one I read today. Tuesday 2/9. Oh my gosh. So yeah, this one doesn't have a timestamp, so we don't know where the houses are. But I have on my thingy, on the iPad, it doesn't do this on astro.com, which is why I'm taking the screenshot that I put up here. Mine says Scorpio rising, so we'll go with that, I guess. Okay, so no, I'm just not gonna talk about the right thing. So yeah, Blue was supposed to come over. There's a lot of wow, like Venus Jupiter conjunction, but also Saturn. So it's like there's love that should be there, but then Saturn's restricting it, and Saturn is the ruler of Aquarius. So Saturn, Venus, and Jupiter, plus the Sun and Mercury, all in Aquarius, when the Sun is the ruler of Leo and is in detriment in Aquarius. The rest of the planets are peregrine. They don't have any rulership there, and they're not in a worse position there either. But yeah, Saturn is ruling it, so it's limiting this like Jupiter Venus love that's supposed to happen. Like this guy told me I was the prettiest girl at this restaurant that we worked at. Sun and Mercury. I mean, I'm like obviously writing about it. I'm not afraid to say how I feel. And then there's a lot of Taurus, Mars and Taurus. Yeah, that's like I was supposed to be, you know, having a nice, pleasant evening, and then getting really mad about that not happening. It's very Taurian energy. And Mars conjunct Uranus in Taurus. Just like suddenly, well, Mars was already past Uranus, but still, just kind of suddenly getting angry, which I feel like Mars in Taurus is very much the bull aspect of, I mean, any planet in Taurus is gonna have the bull aspect, but I just feel like Taurus is, the bull is just kind of like, fine, it's gonna stand there and do its own thing. You might try to make it do something else and like push it, and it's just gonna stand there. But then once you make it mad, it's gonna like snap and start charging. And that's like, it's very Mars and Taurus to me. And then we've also got Pluto and the moon in Capricorn, so it's pretty intense. The moon is in falling Capricorn, so because it rules Cancer, and those are opposite signs. So yeah, that's pretty much the first chart. Just a lot of Aquarius energy, Saturn restricting that Venus Jupiter love that's supposed to happen. And then we've got the next day, the 10th. So most of the planets are in the same spot. However, the moon is there now with Jupiter and Venus in Aquarius. So yeah, it's like mostly the same thing. And then this is just like, yeah, I'm still talking about the same day. And this one specific text that I got, yeah, that that really pissed me off. Couldn't believe her. Like, I literally didn't say anything mean. Like, I might have just, like, if she was like, oh my gosh, hi, how are you, how's your day, I was just like, it's fine. Like, not ignoring her, but not like just being as bright and energetic as maybe she wanted. I don't know, she was expecting. But yeah, lots of restrictions. But you would think the Saturn and the Jupiter, I mean the Venus and the Jupiter together would like cancel out the fact that Saturn has rulership there, being like two benefics. Venus and Jupiter in traditional astrology are like the bringers of good things or benefics, and then Saturn and Mars are malefics or bringers of bad things. And so yeah, you'd think maybe having two benefics and one malefic would make it a little bit better. But I guess that didn't happen for me because I was just really upset. So that's those two. I feel like the reading of the Saturn book was a little bit longer than Um, this part. Anyway. And then the last one I wanted to look at is, I already looked at March 13th because that was when no. Yeah, I'm still doing March 13th today. Okay. Have I read this one yet? I don't think so. March 13th, 2021, 2:27 p.m. So since I've been looking into astrology, I feel like I understood my path more. But the more I look into it, the more contradictions I'm finding. Like my 7th house suggests that I communicate best with others and will learn more about myself through others, but Saturn in Pisces in my 1st house suggests that I don't know who I am and I'm not about to find out if I learn how to feel my feelings. But other parts suggest that I lose who I am in a relationship, so it's kind of nice being friends with, this is Blue, because he's so busy. I have plenty of time to spend on my own to figure out who I am. And I know I can't lose myself in the relationship because it's not a relationship, we're just friends. But I'm still learning a lot about myself. But I'm finding out it's difficult to focus on myself because I keep having to remind myself that just because Blue is busy and not able to text or hang out as much as I would like him to in order to receive enough external validation, I have to constantly calm myself down about that. Which makes it difficult to focus on myself, and I can see that the solution to this would be to build up my own self-confidence. Yeah, build up my own self-confidence so that I don't rely on other people, and in order to do this, my chart suggests I learn to love myself through others, so I need to spend more time with friends, I guess, so I have to figure out how to make friends and hang out with them during a pandemic. I'm thinking I could start trying to write songs, and I did. I just wrote a Valentine's Day album. When I did it before for like 2 days, there was one point where I think I found a rhythm, but I also just wrote some ideas that I could work on now, and maybe I could talk to Pink about it or someone else musical, and I think this is where I could use social media to help me because I can post videos of me playing guitar and singing, but I'm shy. And then people will probably reach out and talk to me about it or request songs or say something nice about it. And that could help build my confidence. So once I'm able to get through a song all the way without messing up the strumming pattern when I sing, without forgetting a verse, and without forgetting which verse I'm on, I can post a video and see what people say. And even if it doesn't do well, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm bad. Maybe people didn't see it, smiley face, but they might see it and like it. So who knows? I know that if I get up early and go to the gym, I feel a lot better throughout the day, and I'm able to motivate myself to do other things like practicing guitar and making myself breakfast and walking Bowser. And all of these things help me feel better about myself, whether Blue is talking to me or not. I wanted to make things a little more complicated if anyone was trying to figure out who I'm talking about. So I was changing, like I'm going to do different colors for the same name on different days. But for one video, I think I'm just gonna make it all at least the same color. So yeah, I switched that. Those are orange, but I was talking about blue. If anyone's wondering about that. So yeah, let's get into the astrology of it. Got March 13th. This one is time-stamped. We love that for me. So we've got Leo rising. Leo is ruled by the sun. The sun has now moved from Aquarius to Pisces. It was a while since I wrote. We've also got Saturn right on the descendant. So yeah, that's definitely limiting relationships. So yeah, Sun conjunct Venus conjunct Neptune. The moon is also in Pisces, it looks like 28 degrees Pisces. Mars has moved into Gemini at this point, so no more of the bull, but we've like, yeah, that anger isn't there. I'm not like, I'm so freaking pissed and blah blah blah, but yeah, I'm just kind of like wishy-washy. Like, it's like I should learn about myself through relationships, but also I should be alone, and like I should learn how to make friends, but we're in a pandemic and I can't really hang out with them, and I want to write songs, but I keep messing up when I'm playing, and I want to post them, but I'm nervous, and yeah, just going back and forth on a lot of stuff there. So I just think that's interesting. We've got Mercury and Jupiter still in Aquarius, but Venus has moved on. So that's because Venus is exalted in Pisces, and then Venus is conjunct Neptune, and Neptune is like the modern ruler of Pisces. Jupiter is the traditional ruler. So Venus could be conjunct, it depends on how you look at it. Venus could be conjunct the ruler of the sign that she's exalted in their sign together, so that's like really good. But then for me personally, in this entry, I'm talking like I happened to start it right when Saturn was on the descendant, so maybe if I just didn't write it at that time, who knows. Yeah, and then that's when blue was kind of oh, I didn't get that far. Okay. Did I read? I feel like I read March 14th. No, I didn't. Okay. So yeah, I'm not gonna read the next one. Well, I guess I could. Let's just do it really quick because I read 2 ahead of time. So Sunday, March 14th, 2021, 1:04 p.m. This is actually the one that is wrong. There were 2. I was wrong before. March 14th. No wonder I was confused. Okay. So I'm at 1:04 p.m. Lots of 04s. When I was growing up, we had a little timer as my dad's. I don't really know. It was like a stopwatch or something, and it would go off every day at 7:04. It would go like beep beep. It is 7:04 p.m. Beep beep, and then it would start over. Beep beep. It is 7:04 p.m. Beep 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 beep. It is 7:04 p.m. for the whole minute every day. So that's my life. Oops. March 14th, 1:04 p.m. So, okay. My ears hurt. Maybe I should stop here. I think I will stop here and start editing it because my ears hurt. So tune in next time if you want to find out more about what happens with blue. Let me get rid of that. And then I wanted to close out with a little tarot card. I'm just gonna shuffle it and pull a card just to, and then if I feel called to, I'll read. Oh my gosh, that was terrible. Got a Fool at the bottom. Let's try this. There we go. Okay. Now you can't see. Alright, hello. 1 card, please. There we go. Nice. Yeah, that feels pretty accurate. I'm gonna read it. It's the 5 of Cups. Uh-oh. 5 of Swords, Pentacles, Cups. Desolation, addiction, old emotional habits. I'm gonna hold it up while I do it. Depression, sadness, regret, emotional overload. Dejection, sadness, depression. I'm just gonna hold it up for that part. Dejection, sadness, and depression fill this card to its emotional rock bottom. We have all been there. We all know what it feels like, and it isn't pretty. The 5 of Cups offers you a choice. Nothing is really over until it's over. 2 cups stand fresh behind the figure while while the other 3 spill liquid. It is 2 cups stand fresh behind the figure while the other 3 spill liquid. Is he sad to have lost them, or did he kick them over? He faces the choice of what to do next. Will you indulge in more of the same behavior, or will you vanish from the scene of the crime and leave behind energy and patterns of your current circumstances and cross the bridge to new horizons on the other side of the river? Choice is always available. The ability to choose is yours in any situation. You can choose how you will react to your feelings and emotions, or you can choose to simply let everything be and to not react, and not to react. The black cloak signifies the darkness where no horizons contain us. It is in darkness that new life begins, grows, and flourishes long before we ever see it with our own eyes. Trust yourself to walk away from a person, place, thing, or situation wanting to keep you small. So thank you so much for watching. Tune in next time to find out what happens with Blue. So Sunday, March 14th, 2021, 1:04 p.m. I woke up today and heard Bowser. Bowser is a dog and he's now no longer alive, so I didn't censor his name. I woke up today and heard Bowser whining in his room, so I got up to walk him. And then we played outside for a little bit, but I feel so tired, and maybe it's the coffee I've been drinking lately and haven't had yet today. That's another good reason to go to the gym again, because I can drink pre-workout, which has caffeine, and is probably one reason the gym wakes me up, or the gym makes me feel better, but the physical exercise obviously helps too. And with my Mars in Cancer, that's important. I meant to say 5th house, not Cancer, but anyway, yeah, Mars in the 5th house. If you look at my chart in Placidus, that's what I was doing originally. In whole sign it's in the 6th house, but that's okay. I looked at Blue's chart, that should be green. I looked at Green's chart yesterday, and it made me take everything she says less personally because she has a lot of air signs and 2 grand trines in air, and mine is in water. I don't remember how she has 2 grand trines in air. I think there were like 2 that were really close, like she had like 2 planets next to each other in one, and so it kind of made like 2. 2 grand trines in air, and mine is in water, so I think she doesn't understand how emotional I can be, and it feels like everything is spiraling out of control and there's nowhere for them to go. Sometimes when I tell her about a problem I'm having and she just gives me the first solution she thinks of when I've already tried it and it didn't work, or it shows she doesn't really know why it's such a problem in the first place, and it makes it really frustrating to talk to her about how I feel, even though we both have Gemini moons. But that just means, like I said, I have to try not to take anything she says personally and trust that she cares about me. When I interpret some things she does as her not caring about me, but now I know where my problems stem from. I can either choose not to talk to her about my problems, talk about one smaller one, or tell the truth and decide that her reactions don't have to affect me like that, and I can just have a light conversation about whatever it is. I can just have a light conversation about whatever. It doesn't have to be that deep in the first place, but I gotta get ready for work now. And this is continued later at 10:37 p.m. So Blue came into right as I was cut, and I was right by the door, and I said hi, and he didn't even look at me, but he talked to Purple and Purple, and it felt like he was trying to get away from me. Did I have purple in this? I did. This is a different purple than purple before. Anyway, both of them, Purple and Purple, and it felt like he was trying to get away from me as fast as possible. It was really weird, and I haven't heard from him in days, so it would have been nice if he would have acknowledged me in any way. So, okay, I got a buffalo salad from work. I can't eat it because I'm upset. I got a buffalo salad from work, and I can't eat it because I'm upset. I just don't understand why it's so hard for me to find someone who's willing to put in effort for me. I've been texting him first every day, and he was just being really unresponsive, and I don't know why, and it's driving me crazy, and I can't keep doing this, but I guess it doesn't matter, because we're just friends anyway. Apparently, he's food running on Wednesday, so we'll be working together. I'm so tired of letting other people dictate my mood like this.